Is Jan gonna be with us, Matt?
Yeah, he's supposed to be here at 5:30, so.
Okay, all right.
There he is. Hi, Jan.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hey, there he is.
I think everybody's here, at least that I know, that it will be attending, Mark.
Okay,
You want
so
to
this
start?
will be the special board meeting of Wednesday, March 10th, 2021 at 5:30. And can we start with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God,
indivisible,
with liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
We'll get in sync on that one of these days, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Hey, ball.
A Zoom meeting is not a place to try and sync sound, I'll tell you.
No.
That's right.
So we've got the call of order. The official action will be dealing with the sewer line in the parking lot. Matt, you want to give us an overview there?
Yeah, I've got, just two items on tonight's agenda, this one and then the
It seems
one
lost
on
everybody.
the warrant. Yeah. So on this, we started to discuss this last time and I couldn't all the answers to your questions and apologize for being so frazzled at that meeting, but so I think I've answered your questions in the narrative that I sent out at the town. I haven't. I've asked Jan and George to be here. I'm going to quickly summarize. So we have Chase that's had to come on in office because we weren't ready for him in November. We weren't ready for him to finish up the project. I've explained that in the narrative. We didn't have all the information on where the sewer lines have the engineering complete, and gosh, we are getting right into the holidays, and we didn't want to put up the traffic in the parking lot going into Christmas. So going into the holiday shopping. So they pulled off the site. Now the challenge becomes getting them back on the site. And we did reach a stumbling block, and that's why I brought this up to the board last time. Chase wanted another 10,000 to just for a kind of a blanket risk retention amount. And, there's no way that could be covered under the EDA grant, especially because that was just for their work on the private property component, which is relatively small part of the rest of this. And so Jan and I put our brains together last week and we came up with this idea. Well, the private property component can't be covered by EDA anyway. That's got to come out of the separate funds we've set aside for this project, which is basically the donations and a little bit of town money, taxpayer money. It has to come out of there anyway, so we don't have to worry about the EDA requirements and Davis-Bacon and everything else that goes into that. So we need to get somebody on the job fairly quickly so that can work with Chase. And the first part of this was getting Chase to agree not to have us pay the $10,000, and I think Jan maybe can update us, but that is the case. They're not going to charge us $10,000 if they don't have to go onto the private property. So the next part of this was trying to get someone immediately who knows the parking lot, who's done before. And what I did is I asked Seamus Gilbert, who did the private property work for Colby and Gale, to give me a quote. And so what we're looking at in terms of private property, I'm going to review that briefly again. When we put the new service line in, the part that's already been in and the part that has yet to be constructed, we relocated we had to relocate some of the private lines. So the agreement that I worked out with the businesses is that we would pay for the portion line is. So these private lines that the town would be paying for don't go all the way to the buildings. That's something the private owners got to work out. But just because we are replacing the line, we didn't think that it was on them to pay for this. So this contractor that we'll be contracting with separately, with the payment directly from the town, will be putting in the line from the main sewer line, the new main sewer line, to where it intersects with the private service line. Okay. Well, as I said, I talked to Seamus Gilbert, who did the work for Colby and Gale, and we've gone right down to the wire here because he just gave me his within the last hour. I'm going to put that on the screen.
Matt, before you do that,
Yeah,
I got a question.
sure.
Are we talking about the yellow lines? The yellow?
Yeah, it's the yellow. Exactly. It's that yellow highlighted line, which doesn't go all the way to the buildings.
Okay, so you're talking, that's not part of Chase's?
It wouldn't be part of Chase's. If Chase did that where that yellow line is, they would charge us the additional 10,000 for risk.
Okay, so they didn't bid on that originally?
No, that wasn't part of the original bid. Right up front, it wasn't part of the going off the public property wasn't part of the original bid, and it wasn't something that Chase has been willing to do from the beginning. They don't want to go on to private property. When they were working next to the private property in the western part of this project. So that's why they put in this very substantial disincentive. Jan, what is the total for Chase come in at with that 10,000? You calculated that a little while ago.
Yes, that 10,000 is over and on top of what in the bid price. We did have a bid price for installing 6-inch service laterals of $79.50 a foot. And then there's also a trench restoration piece that they included in that was approximately $30 a square yard. And
yeah, and correct me if I misstated that. That wasn't part of the original bid package, was it?
Right. The original bid package showed the laterals being connected at the property line, but because the depth of the laterals were different from what we knew were known at the time, we've had to extend the laterals further in order to catch up to where they are depth-wise.
So the ones up to Rennie's, that's not part of the original contract?
There is a line that we had an original contract that would have taken a service lateral up to the corner of the property, where we show a line coming from the far corner of that whole building, which is the information we had at the time that said that's where the sewer lateral is, and it's not there at all.
Okay, so we'll be getting a credit for that.
That's correct. And so what we've agreed to do is to install the sewer services as we have shown in our plans for that unit rate that they agreed to in our original bid. So any sewer services that they do, they'll be installing it with that at the original rate. You know, so the distances might be a little bit different, but it'll still be that same rate.
So what are we looking from the new contractor to do? Out of all the 4 yellow lines, the 4 highlighted, I should say, I'm sorry.
So the new contractor is going to, well, Chase is going to come through, install the services up to the property line, mark them. And then the other contractor is going to take and start at the end of the lateral that Chase had installed and continue it up to those locations shown and connect into the service laterals. And it's about 112 feet or so in total length. In the yellow. So Chase's cost to do that would have been around $21,500 or so, including that $10,000 premium.
That's plus the 10?
Well, no, it was in total. Their cost to do it straight out of the box with their larger volume and everything was about $11,500. And then with the 10,000 on top of that would have been $21,500. We had them do it.
Okay.
Gotcha. But they don't want to really do it, do they?
We don't.
No.
Oh, huh.
I pulled up that sketch if you want to see that again. Is there a need to show that?
No.
Okay.
I got it. And, you know, I don't have any problem with it as long as the contractor can get bonded just like the other contractor. There's no problem at all.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'm going to show you his. And we need, I'll tell you right up front, we need more detail on this. And when I just spoke with him a few minutes ago, he said he would provide that. And this amount totals $17,916. And what he told me is that although this is, the quoted price, he says has fudged the cost of material up a little bit, but he would just charge us what he used. So both in terms of pipe and sand, gravel, and the pavement. So the total amount would be an amount not to exceed $17,916.
Where Chase's price was 11.5.
Well, yes, without the premium.
Right.
But Chase's price is based on a much larger project and volume. So, I mean, there's some economies of scale there.
Yeah.
What will Chase do when he comes back?
He's going to install the pipes to those locations that we have on the plans, to the beginning of the yellow highlighted pipes. So he'll install them to the property lines, mark them, and then repair his trench.
They're dead set on this $10,000 premium.
Yeah, we've been back and forth with them.
Back and forth.
Times tried to propose
Yeah.
a number of different ways to doing that so that, even to the
Yeah.
extent that it's if they incur extra costs, that the town would pay for extra costs up to $10,000, and they said no, they didn't want that. So it's, to me, they may have had a bad experience in the past. I don't know.
Hmm.
Which is all the more reason we need to make sure that we have the proper bonding and insurance in case we have something go wrong.
Right.
Okay. So do I hear a motion on the floor to have Matt negotiate with Mr. Gilbert?
You'll need to waive charter bid guidelines as part of that.
Okay. And along with waiving charter bid lines for 17,000, not to exceed $17,916, providing he has proper bonding and insurance.
Mhm.
Do I hear a motion? Or I guess I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Lou, second. Any more discussion? Anybody?
Matt, did you say that Seamus is going to provide bonds and insurance? Was that your?
Yeah, I talked to him about insurance. I need to discuss with him the bonding, so, yeah.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, and thanks, John and George.
We'll get off now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Nice.
Town manager items?
Yeah, the only item I have is the I think Mark had originally brought this idea up that we put as much as we can on a secret ballot, and that, you know, the hope is that more people will vote, more people will pay attention to the local election, and they'll be able to come in here to vote, or they'll be able to do that by absentee ballot on June 8th. So what I did was just as a sample ballot, this, you know, and is in no way close to final because we've got to put in all the budget numbers and such. I just broke it out, what would be on the secret ballot versus what would be on the open town meeting ballot. And I have it slightly updated from what I sent you.
How many articles would be on secret ballot?
20, well, for what we know now, there would be 26. I'm not sure. This copy I have still shows 28, but it'd be 26. So it would be all the way down to the tax limit override, if it turns out we need to do that. I haven't done the calculations on that yet. So there'd be 26 items on the secret ballot, and then the balance of these would be on the open town meeting ballot. Two, yeah.
No, yeah, I do.
Call back on something. Nice. Kill you.
Hey, Doug, can you mute there if you're not going to be in?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. So Matt, what do you recommend? Are you looking at 26?
Yeah, I'm looking at the 26, again, you know, depending, there may be some other items that come up that may be on the secret ballot, but follows those subject areas. And then I guess that would be my recommendation, but then number 43 and number 44, I guess that's a question for the board on whether you want this pending petition article on a national carbon tax. If you want that on the secret ballot, if Marnie Sinclair gets the required number of signatures, would you want that on the the secret ballot or the open town meeting ballot. On that one, my recommendation is to have that on the open town meeting ballot so that Marnie can explain why she wants the town to support this national legislation, and the town can explain, or me on behalf of the town could explain that this is not an endorsement from the selectmen, that this is an issue that was put on by petition. So that's why we're saying put it on the open town meeting ballot, and it just, one less item that's going to add to the clutter on the secret ballot. And I talked to Robin about that at her break today, and she said she would like to see it on the open town meeting portion of the warrant.
Yeah, I think we definitely got to talk about it.
Yeah.
What I'm
I
worried
think-
about, what I don't like though, is 25 people just talking about it and gonna vote on
If that,
it. If that.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's your feeling, Josh?
Is the petition wording going to be like a resolution or what is?
Yeah, it's yet, but it's something to the effect that the town of Damascotta supports federal legislation and urges our congressional delegation to support legislation which would institute a carbon tax on fossil fuel users and then rebate that tax back to citizens. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
I've murdered it, but that's kind of a.
I guess, Matt, we're trying to reach as many people as we can. And if we know that this is going to come out, then, I'd rather have more people vote on this, and both sides come time to do, public hearings or whatnot, they're going to have to get out and educate people, and we'll have to present our side. But if we're only going to get like 35 people to decide this for the town of Damascotta at an open meeting, I'd much prefer to have the voting community vote on this as a whole.
May I comment?
Yes.
Go ahead.
What just struck me was, if I was behind this and was politically organized and wanted to stuff it through, I'd pack the open meeting. I'd get all my supporters there so the 25 votes would carry it for the whole town. That's what scares me.
Definitely.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I got a question for Matt as far as time frame, as far as having a meeting where we would discuss this openly in public.
Yeah, you need to have, for everything that's on the special town meeting warrant, you'll need to have a public hearing. And I sent out that timeline to you. I think it's late April, or maybe early May, that you'll need to have a public hearing on the town meeting warrant articles that are on the secret ballot. So there would be an opportunity to discuss it at that time, and then for people to vote on it later. It would give people a chance to view, even if they're not at the public hearing, they'll be able to view it on LCTV.
Yeah, it seems like an issue, an article that would need some discussion from both sides, or many sides, many angles. So
if we're trying to reach people, and that's why we're trying to get as many voters as we can, this needs to be voted on. Referendum.
Well, if that's the consensus here, we'll put that on the secret ballot portion of the meeting.
How many signatures does she have to have?
122.
Okay, so if she gets the 122, I think we're obligated.
Well, we're obligated to have it on a ballot. The question from the board is, for the board, is whether you want it on the secret ballot referendum or the open town meeting. Yeah, you're obligated to have it within 60 days after getting the petitions or at the next annual town meeting.
Well,
We don't have a special, we don't want to have a special election for that, so,
right.
we put it on the annual town
I
meeting.
mean, I'm a fan of getting as many people as we can out there and vote on stuff, so.
Yeah.
I guess looking at it from that point of view, we should be looking at putting that on a secret ballot if they come up with 122 signatures. But have the adequate time to have it explained too to the public.
Yeah, okay. And then the other one I had a question on, as you know, the county assessment is set. Voters in Damascotta really don't have any say in it, but I believe we need to have the authorization, the payment of the county assessment on the ballot. Although we don't have any say in the amount, it's good to kind of cover ourselves and have the authorization. So my recommendation is you put that at the open town meeting to explain that to them, that they really can't vote it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're required by law, once the assessment, we have to pay it. So,
Yeah.
Well,
So is that
what
okay
would
to
happen if they voted against it?
put it at the open town?
So why pretend that we can vote for it?
Because we need to include it. The theory goes, I would just as soon not have it on there because it creates all sorts of issues as to why we put it on. But the reason we have it on there is so that it becomes part of our tax commitment process, and it's part of our property tax.
Do we have any other discussion to do with what town managers recommended? How many, I do get a question now. How many can we put on one side of the ballot? Because I think that was our goal, was no more than 2 pages.
Yeah. Gosh, we did talk to Becky about that when she came to the town meeting and she's left for the night.
Yeah.
It's the long page.
Right.
I'm not sure. I'll have to find out for certain whether we could get the now 27 articles on there.
I think we can make it work. I'm sure there's a way we can do it. So,
Yeah, it'd be front and back, I think.
Change the font.
That's what I was going to say, Daryl. Make the font 4 points rather than
But I'll
14 points.
need to confirm that with Becky. I don't know for certain.
Okay. Do I hear a motion on the floor?
I have a
Who
question.
has something?
Lou,
I assume that the town meeting will be on Zoom. Correct?
that plus being in
yeah.
the open meeting, yes.
Yeah, well, like we did last year, we'll put it on Zoom, but we will tell people that they have to be there to participate,
Okay.
and especially to vote.
Okay, but we had a nice meeting today on the finances,
Good.
but we still had 2 people that could not get on the Zoom meeting. I couldn't get on the Zoom meeting at the Selectmen's meeting.
Yep.
For some reason. And I guess there were a few others that couldn't. So I think we should review the system and if need be, have our electronic person, if need be, train some people to set it up.
And I think it's important.
Yeah, it bothered me last week, as you might have noticed.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so do we have any other discussions to do with this format? We'll leave it up to Matt to figure out how many articles they can fit on 2 pages.
And I'll just tell you whether or not we can do that. Yeah.
oh, I think we're trying to reach as many people as we can. So if we have to go a little bit more, we go a little bit more.
Yeah.
We're trying to get all
Yeah,
our
give it a-
budget, our meat of our budget approved with these, and I'm sure we will make it work.
Yeah,
Keeping in mind that is, if they come up with a number of signatures, we could have a spot for that too.
yeah.
So do I hear a motion?
I can, you're gonna have to approve the articles.
Okay,
eventually Anyway, I can just, I hear the consensus and I'll reflect that in the draft that I present to you
okay.
for formal vote.
I will entertain a motion of, we finish this meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second or
Lou?
approve, whatever.
I guess Lou was first, Josh was second. All those in favor?
It was too quick for me.
Hey, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Night all.
Take care.
Have a good night. Have a good evening.